I'm Professor Supraja here. So we'll probably wait for a minute or two before others join. Today we had more than 40 responses for our meeting. So hope everyone will be able to join in. But meanwhile, I would like to introduce about our college. If anything is not audible, please either write it in the chat. And at the end of the session, you will be able to ask questions or interact with Dr. Kishore. So Vidura College of Business Management in Hyderabad is a non-profit educational society. It has been established in 2008. Uh, they are devoted mainly to education, training, research, consultancy for business enterprises in the public and private sectors. VCBM is a premier management institutions and is recognized for Center of Excellence. VCBM, due to COVID, in order to make sure that students and other working executives are not going to fall short of education during this pandemic, which is affecting globally, is conducting online courses in PGDM, ACT approved, and also BBA, OU approved in Hyderabad. And admissions for these courses are open for 2000. So we would definitely encourage you to not waste your pandemic due to pandemic year and make sure that you can improve your skills during this time. And VCBM is being very flexible actually in offering different types of courses, not only the PGDM and BBA courses, but it is also offering numerous short-term refresher management courses. And you have the ability to choose from 1 hour to 3 months based on your preference. We also provide flexible timings in order to inculcate working executives. There will be real-time industry experts, and many of them have PhD with numerous years of experience. And a lot of the offerings which we are doing are going to be through case studies and management games. So you'll definitely see the difference if you compare this to any other institution around. So don't definitely miss this wonderful opportunity in interacting with PhD professors and with other industry level experts. And you can contact us for more details. And the details are also shared in all of your emails. So these are some of the 1 to 6 hour session offerings which we have right now. They range from team building, negotiation skills, stress management, work-life balance, employee performance, leadership lessons for everyday success, how to lead a happy life, how to have positive attitude in order to succeed, how to improve your personality, that is the personality development course, and how to tackle with interviews. No, even though it is going to be pandemic, you might have to deal with situations where you need to shift your jobs due to various changes going on. So we do help with those. We do help with the stress management, especially in these kinds of critical times. Also, there are courses which are going to help you with self-motivation, which is very much required in this current scenarios in order to get going. And will also finally help with your goal setting. Apart from this, there are many other 1 to 6 hour session offerings which we are doing, but these are few to name. Apart from those, we also have short-term certificate refresher courses, and these are something which will help you gain like a certificate, which you can use it in order for showing it in your profile, or even when you go to a different level. It could be at your current work or it could be at your new job. So whatever it is, this is going to definitely help you. The certificate is definitely make you look better compared to anyone else. So in these, we have different certificate course offerings ranging from chain management, how to deal with risk management, how to develop soft skills, how to sell yourself and make sure that you are much better than your peer or anyone who is competing with you. And there is also training for the trainers. Trainer also needs training, so this is something that will help them as well. And GST uh, for the current scenario. And there are a lot of new laws coming up that are changing with COVID-19 in place. So the emerging laws, you will be able to understand about the emerging laws, and there is a certificate course for that as well. We also focus on leadership and team building courses, negotiation and team building, how you can negotiate and get what you want. Then employee performance, if you have seen, this is also in the 6-hour courses, but also it's also as a short-term course. There is so much you can do to improve the performance of employee. Whether you are an employer or whether you are an employee, it doesn't matter. You can always improve it. And finally, we have leadership lessons for everyday success. So you will go through all different current scenarios, and there will be live examples, case studies, and games, which will help you interact and engage more in all the courses. So this is a brief about VCBM, and without falling short, I'm going to go ahead with introducing Dr. Kishore here. Dr. Kishore is an MCOM, PGDCA, MBA, JRF, ACS, LLM, and PhD candidate. He has about 25 years of work experience in project finance, PPP projects, corporate finance, venture capital, credit, legal, accounting, and HR aspects. His academic credentials include he's a second rank holder in MCOM, university topper in PhD research exam, All India fifth rank holder in UGC JRF, university topper in LLM thesis. Presently, he's working as Vice President of Finance at Meenakshi Group in Hyderabad. Presently, previously he served IL and FS, ICICI, Megraj Group, SREI Finance, Beckham, Ocean Sparkle, Mahalakshmi Group, Precast Group, to name a few. His experience includes being director on boards of several companies, member in several committees, and as a member in various organizations. He is one of the privileged CFO fellows of Economic Times CFO Ledger. He's awarded twice as best CFO from Economic Times ET Now Awards. He has association with various professional bodies including CIA, ICA, NHRD, Premier, and so on. He delivered sessions at various forums, institutes in Singapore, Dubai, Malaysia, Bangkok, South Korea, and none other than in our India at Mumbai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, Amaravati, and so on. He has been a guest faculty, trainer, resource person for various universities, institutions, associations, including ICSI, ICAI, McHardy, JNTU, OU, IGNO, and so on. He's also been an autonomous body for SNIM, Shiva Shivani, ISAP, SSIM Mumbai, Indian Institute of Values Pune, and so on. He chaired various seminars, conferences, sessions on various topics related to project finance and corporate finance. He has the privilege of conducting training programs to civil servants and senior level government officers at MCHRD. He underwent advanced level training programs including PPP by Euromoney Europe, PPP implementation by BCA at Singapore Capital Markets by Indian Stock Exchange, project finance by ILNFS, corporate finance by world's leading corporate finance professor Ashwath Damodaran, SCZs by CRISIL, infrastructure by CARE, international finance by SEBI nominee Professor Braj Kishore, and so on. He has published number of articles in leading publications. He guided more than 500 academic and research projects, and he also participated in many conferences. He has been championing for the cause of financial literacy and entrepreneurship themes on pro bono basis for the benefit of MSME enterprises, students, and aspiring professionals like you all. He has been mentoring startups, MSME units, and commerce associations on various topics. Dr. Kishore has traveled widely in India and abroad. His hobbies include reading, teaching, and traveling. So let's all welcome Dr. Kishore in joining us and enlightening us with the investment strategies. Welcome, Dr. Kishore.
Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for your excellent introduction. And thanks to Professor for this opportunity and for the coordination what he had during the past 1 week in finalizing the topic and then in fixing the time slot and the forum. You can advise me when we should start. I am ready, please.
Yes, you can actually share your screen and start it.
Please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Dr. Ratan Talks channel.
So, good evening, all of you. Welcome to the case study on Warren Buffett, active versus passive management. It's my pleasure to deliver a case study for the participants of VCAM. I should give a brief intro about the case study before we discuss anything about the case. This case study is ideally into 3 parts, but for online it can be only into 2 parts. Part A is understanding or noting briefly about Mr. Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, the organization which he represents, which he owns, and its business strategy, the investments, what it makes, what is its business model, what are its investments. Then we move on to part B. Part B is the core of the case study. It is about the active versus passive investment and a bet which was taken by Warren Buffett against the whole of the world, a bet which lasted about 10 years and ended on 1st January 2018, about 2 years back. So this is one of the world's only case study spanning around 10 years, a live case study tracked by the entire world, reported on an annual basis by all the investment journals, all the news media, everyone, about the progress on an annual basis and celebrated at the end of the case, a live case study. Now we start with part A. As I mentioned, you would read the rule: never lose money. Don't forget rule number 1. A brief disclaimer. It goes without saying. You are all used to understanding disclaimers. Now we start with briefly about Warren Buffett. I'll not read out these contents of the slide. I'll go extempore, touching upon the main points and having some time, some space for our discussion. Few interesting things, funny things, and worthy to note will definitely be covered. That includes, he is an MBA finance, rather a graduate in finance like you and me. He has done his investment course in New York Institute of Finance. He tried his level best to get admitted into Harvard, his father and grandfather being very influential persons. He thought he would easily get into Harvard those days itself, but he couldn't get admission there. Then he had to compromise, settle with Columbia Business School, which happened to be his lifetime fortune, lifetime luck, because it is at CBS, Columbia Business School, he met his would be partner, would be mentor, would be philosopher and guide, Mr. Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham, as you all know, is the father of security analysis, is the father of investment management, is the one who created a syllabus out of a simple topic. Back then, when statistics, economics, marketing, all were part of economics, all are part of subparts of economics, chapters of economic study, security analysis was a one-liner in the subject, in the syllabus. That one-liner today has grown into 7 full-fledged topics of specialization and many courses only on this. Courses like CFA, courses like CFM, courses like MFA, MFM, multiple courses out of that one-liner topic. Thanks to many, and the father of them, the best among them being Benjamin Graham. Columbia Business School has given an opportunity to Mr. Buffett to meet Benjamin Graham and get trained under him, taught by him, and groom himself into one of the world's most celebrated investment banker investor. And he started his stint as a salesman. Salesman is again a financial salesman. Definitely one of the career course, what you all may have to undergo in your initial years to get groomed into a full-fledged professional to take on the multiple challenges in the finance field. Same was the course for him as well back then, about 70 years back. And he worked for 2 years, about 4 years as a salesman, trained on the job, got whatever knowledge he has to pick up. Then he became a partner with his own teacher, with his own professor, Benjamin Graham. Graham spotted Buffett's skills, Buffett's acumen, the sharpness, and the investment abilities what Mr. Buffett had at a very tender age, and how he proved himself to run the mock studies into a real studies and gave good benefits to Graham's experiments. Graham took him as his partner, and that ran for about 2 years. And Graham wound up his partnership and went on to his teaching assignment again for the love for his teaching and research. Then Buffett had to find his own way. He started on his own, started his investment boutique, and Charles Munger was his partner. The journey started then in about 58, 59, year 58, 59. 56 was the actual start date, but initially it was in a partnership format. Subsequently, it was converted into company format. They acquired a company by name Berkshire Hathaway, and it went on. The acquisition of Berkshire Hathaway is one of the popularly discussed, humored, and laughed at topic. The reason being, Buffett wanted to acquire Berkshire Hathaway, the one of the world's largest textile company then. Immediately after the world wars, you would know that many engineering
Please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Dr. Ratan Talks channel.
companies, many textile companies were all, apart from couple of oil companies and few FMCG companies. Lot many sectors, verticals, many kinds, types of industries, all we are seeing now, maybe past 50 years, were all absent then. Either it has to be a textile company or a food company or FMCG company or engineering company. These are the four broad sectors back then which were known and were prevailing across the world. Textiles was considered to be one of the most prospective sector, and Berkshire Hathaway, being one of the leader in the sector, was eyed by Mr. Buffett. And Buffett thought, I will acquire Berkshire Hathaway and fire the CEO because of whom this company is not doing well, and I'll appoint a capable, competent, qualified CEO, and we'll see Berkshire Hathaway realize its full potential. With that conception, he acquired it and realized that the CEO who was serving until then was definitely doing the best what no one could replace. With the bitter experience what he had with the Berkshire Hathaway, he slowly groomed and nurtured and transformed Berkshire Hathaway from a textile company into an investment company, a group company, a holding company, which became today a behemoth having multiple sectors. Textile almost non-existent today, even for the past 30, 40 years. That is the background about Berkshire Hathaway. It's not his own company. So today, if you speak, it's about what, close to 200 years old, or maybe older than that, about 200 years old. But Berkshire Hathaway is about close to 60 years or 70 years in the portfolio of Mr. Buffett as his flagship company. Buffett has been world's third wealthiest company for long. Maybe now he is about fifth or sixth as per the latest rankings. Rankings do change, as you understand. Now Jeff Bezos replaced, and then many have also joined the bandwagon. Therefore, he slipped into five. But for long, for about 4 decades, he has been third wealthiest person, and he has been the longest chairman, serving chairman even today, of course, chairman and investor for a public traded company. What, for about 40 years, maybe more than that. He pledged 99% of his wealth for philanthropic causes, and he propounded and claimed and invited multiple businessmen to join the challenge of giving pledge. This was along with Mr. Bill Gates. That pledge was well taken by many businessmen. Many joined the philanthropic course, and that has become a race which challenged the moral census of the best of the billionaires who are splurging money on smallest of their pleasures as well. Definitely a worthy cause. A couple of fun facts. We discussed he was rejected admission in HBS, and he addressed HBS multiple times on their special, earnest, persistent requests. So you understand how talent can shine anywhere, regardless of from which business school you come from which place you come from. It is all the knowledge what you gain, the tutelage what you pick up, the mentoring what happens, not just the brand gets built over a period of time. Many wouldn't know CBS, Columbia Business School. Everyone in the world, whoever is worth his salt, whoever would have studied intermediate degree, whatever is the stream, would know what Harvard Business School is, and all publishers know. Hardly anyone would know CBS, but CBS, Columbia Business School, has also produced the world's best investment manager, who was requested by all these best business schools, and whose life and investment and his style and everything about him is studied across the world. Then he claims that he spends about 80% of his time in reading books. And one of the most interesting thing, every year he conducts an annual charity allowing the successful bidder, to have a lunch with him. That amount, of course, goes to charity, as it reads as a title. And the recent last year's bid was about 4.57 billion, which translates to close to 35 crores in Indian rupees for one lunch. This was successfully won by Mr. Sun, Justin Sun, who owns the cryptocurrency Tron. He's from China. For long, Buffett has been an opponent of cryptocurrencies, has been bitterly criticizing cryptocurrencies. He was indifferent about blockchain technology. He didn't speak much about blockchain technology, but the blockchain technology's flagship front curtain, cryptocurrency, was bitterly criticized by Warren Buffett. In spite of that, maybe because of that, Justin Sun went overboard, maybe slightly more than what it was last year, and successfully has bid $4.57 million, about 35 crores Indian rupees, and won the luncheon meeting and finished it off successfully in the month of March, about March, I believe, successfully. And he cherished that lunch as worth multiple times this bid money what he paid. And Warren Buffett had a second marriage. Of course, it's for the professionals. When I discuss with professionals who are 50, 60, 70, who are chairmen, they'll also, tickles their senses about their personal lives and thoughts. So that is not very relevant for you. And the last one also is not for you professionals saying future managers. It's for the professionals who are 50, 55, 60. He made 99% of his wealth after he turned 50. So you can imagine, so there is never a threshold year in the life to make more money or to start making money. His initial investment is in his blood. His father was a stockbroker. His grandfather was a parliamentarian, congressman, means member of parliament. He had this investment in his blood. Naturally, he is also a finance student like you and me. He's an MBA graduate. He purchased his first stock at 11, and he started his partnership when he was 25 years old. And the most important thing to understand for you as future managers, future entrepreneurs, future CEOs is CEOs, CFOs, CMOs, or CXO stuff. He could convince his partners that he will invest only $100 as his capital, but other partners all together have to invest close to $1 lakh. And for his $100, he has to be given 50% of the partnership in the profits, share in the profits in the partnership ownership, and the balance amount what he has to invest to gain 50% partnership, being $50,000 odd plus odd, was assured by him that he will earn into the process, earn from his activity, earn from the partnership, and prove that his capital is earned by him and contributed to the partnership. Imagine the kind of confidence, and the kind of convincing abilities he had back then, we're talking about 60 years back, 55 years back, that he could convince someone to invest 1 lakh dollars, close to what, close to 1 crore today, with just about 70,000 rupees from him or 1 lakh rupees from him, and earn his share of 50% within no time by earning huge exponential profits for the partnership firm. That was his acumen ability. Wisdom at various ages. So most of you are at one, maybe a band of one age. You can just check and refer where you would stand. There's no threshold for making more money in the life and being more successful, and also causing more philanthropic activities, as Mr. Buffett has been causing. The leadership at Berkshire Hathaway. Why we are discussing this? This has some reference. You would see one name which relates to Indian origin, Mr. Ajit Jain. Ajit Jain is an Indian. He's an IIT Kharagpur graduate. He is an MBA from Harvard University, the place where Mr. Buffett thought he missed and subsequently had no regrets of missing that. And Ajit Jain is the lieutenant of Berkshire Hathaway for the past 20 years, but officially was anointed as would-be chairman. Ajit Jain and Greg Abel are the two who are nominated as vice chairman. Mr. Buffett being the chairman, Mr. Charlie Munger being the vice chairman. Ajit and Greg are anointed as the would-be persons to get into the shoe of Mr. Buffett and Charlie Munger. Buffett is 90 years old today. Munger is about 96 and a half, 96 years old today. So they still feel that they have a long way to go at those ages, but they realize that life will not be too longer, and they need to have the second line in place. Therefore, Mr. Ajit and Greg have been groomed for long, until 2019. Ajit Jain was ahead of Mr. Greg Abel, and every future manager like you, every Indian, every investment banker, every stockbroker, everyone whoever knew Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, Ajit Jain, have all prayed that Ajit Jain should be given his due respect, his due position as a chairman for the company, because it is he who contributed the benign cost of capital, huge funds to the organization. What is benign capital? Mr. Ajit Jain was in charge of insurance business. Insurance business is 25% of the whole of the conglomerate's cash flows, profits, and volumes. Insurance income, as you know, as a finance student, as you know, as you could guess, even if you had not discussed any time before, it goes without teaching. It needs to be guessed by you, picked up by you. Insurance business gets you revenues at a very benign cost. What cost? What is the return paid on your insurance subscription? Almost nothing. Only when you demise, only when you cease to live, will you get your policy amount paid, the claim proceeds paid. Until then, all your money goes as expense. We are talking about insurance company in USA. Therefore, the cost of capital for the revenues, for the cash flows, for the funds which are mobilized in the name of insurance business for the insurance business would have been hardly 1-2%, or today it would have been negative as well, which means a cost capital or near zero cost capital of 25% of the funds is all what Mr. Jain has contributed to the business, because of which Berkshire Hathaway had such a long stint as one of the world's successful, wealthiest, and most prominent investment company. That is his contribution. Definitely he would deserve that. And I will share one of the small examples of Mr. Jain. Once Mr. Buffett and Jain visited India to address future managers like you at an IEM institute, and one of the smart professor, maybe or an young professor like Supraja, asked him, "Sir," asked Mr. Buffett, "Sir, if 4 of you are traveling in a boat, and if boat were to capsize, unless 3 would get off, who do you think will be spared, will be convinced, will be supported and let go to be alive in the interest of Berkshire Hathaway?" Without blinking,
Please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Dr. Ratan Talks channel.
his eyelid, Mr. Buffett shot back, saying, "Of course, Mr. Ajit Jain." He's the one who is very humble and silent, yet a dark horse who can run the company in the interest of all the shareholders, in the interest of the company, its investee companies, and all the shareholders. That was the confidence Mr. Jain had silently earned from Mr. Buffett and the entire Berkshire Hathaway team and all the investee companies of Berkshire Hathaway. You can imagine now what kind of role he would have played and what kind of respect he commands, and in the entire world, which looks up to Berkshire Hathaway as the best investment company. That are those are his credentials. In spite of all of them, future managers, you'll have to note this point very clearly and carefully. In spite of all of his abilities and proven track record, he lags behind Mr. Greg Abel and did lag during the past 1.5 years because of the dynamism what Mr. Greg Abel has proved, because of the flashy nature what he had and presenting himself, projecting himself, and then stepping ahead, voluntarily steering ahead at every forum, and proved to be ahead of Mr. Jain. And now the atmosphere looks like, while Mr. Jain was to be announced as chairman in May 2019 itself, which was thought as long due by then, got postponed today. Even at May 2nd, 2020 AGM, which was much expected, this decision did not take place. Would have taken place, but we never know. When it is announced, it will be known. It looks like, in all probabilities, Mr. Greg Abel would get into the shoe of chairman. Ajit Jain may have to settle and may remain at vice chairman position only. So this is because of the dynamism what Mr. Greg Abel has proved. One, age is on his side. He's about 10 years or 9 years younger to Mr. Ajit Jain. He should start early. That's one lesson there. And he has been quite dynamic than Mr. Ajit Jain. Therefore, he scored few brownie points with Mr. Buffett and Mr. Charlie Munger. Then we move on to the corporate history of Berkshire Hathaway. I discussed briefly about Berkshire Hathaway. Still, some of them we'll discuss. So the corporate history is very important. Whenever I look at any news of any company, I try to see what is its turnover. I try to see what is its profit. I try to do a simple math in my mind immediately, a simple math without any calculator or mobile or computer assistance. What is the profit? And I see what is the EPS. So these will establish a kind of image about the company in your mind, and you'll never forget about that company.
Hello, sir. We lost your voice. Can everyone hear?
Applies to you. Back then, when we studied, the only example. I also have a doubt, Professor Supraja. Kindly check again.
Yeah, now you are audible.
Hello, am I audible, please?
Now you are audible again. There
Did
was a small glitch,
anyone
and then you're back again.
send you
N-
confirmation?
yeah, could anyone say? Yeah, it's audible. Okay, you can
Oh,
go ahead.
fine. You can intervene. Intermittently you can hint me, or you can keep sending your voice slow down, fast. Maybe this slide explain again,
Sure,
or some are not. It's not audible, all that stuff. Kindly keep doing this exercise so that if anyone is not able to listen, I will get to know.
sure. Sounds good.
Back then, when we studied, we discussed about Microsoft being the only company which has never paid dividends for 30 years. Still, and everyone thought they gained a lot, notionally though. Yeah, thought they gained a lot, notionally though, in terms of capital gains. Microsoft has been one of the classic examples for all the finance to understand the theoretical concept of investors are indifferent and between receiving dividend and capital gains when they make exit, when they sell the stock. That theoretical concept was proved well by Microsoft for about 30 years. Thereafterwards, in 1 year, when the tax provision was changed, they broke their record and declared about $43 billion back then in '93, all at once as dividend. 43-50 billion dollars as dividend in year 2003 at once as dividend. So you can imagine what kind of amount they would have declared as dividend those years itself. Then Berkshire Hathaway is another example, like Google, what we're discussing now, is one company which has not declared dividend in its entire history until now. In its partnership firm format, it paid dividend. That was what we discussed, that $100 from Buffett and balance all as partnership share. Apart from that partnership stint in the company format, it has not paid any dividend. And it was not an irony that Berkshire Hathaway wouldn't invest in any company, if that investee company doesn't pay dividend. It has got this as a essential principle, the first threshold screener to get into any company. That company should be regularly dividend paying company, whereas Berkshire Hathaway is irregular, rather is regular in not paying dividend at all until now. It was not included in the index until 2010 because of lack of liquidity. You will understand why it lacked liquidity over a period of time as we discuss more. Then it had Class A, Class B shares that we'll discuss when we come across that part. Class B is 1/1500th of the value of Class A, and Class B has got lower voting rights. From Class B, you can't go back to Class A. Reverse fungibility is not allowed. Class A share price is about, in Indian
Hello,
rupee terms,
the
close
voice
to
not at
2.5
all clear.
crores one share. Therefore, it lacks liquidity. And to give some liquidity for the...
So your voice is breaking.
Sir, is it clear now? How about now? How about now?
Yeah, now it is fine. I think when you were
Please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Dr. Ratan Talks channel.
speaking, it was breaking.
Hello? Ma'am,
Yeah,
how
now
about
you're
now?
clear. Hello,
Hello?
sir, you are now clear.
Okay, I think maybe some external climatic... yeah, fine. Okay, and Berkshire Hathaway has about 200 step-down subsidiaries. And one of the important and interesting thing is Berkshire Hathaway is one of the major investor in Standard & Poor and in Moody's. But these two rating agencies, the global leading rating agencies, refuse to assign a credit rating to Berkshire Hathaway, claiming that they don't understand the ownership structure of Berkshire Hathaway, which is very, very complex. Berkshire Hathaway Class A shareholders, not much to note, except that Buffett holds close to 37%, while he enjoys more than 45% of voting rights. He has this shareholding percent. And the best of the names like BlackRock, Vanguard, SSGA, Gold, Northern Trust, and Fidelity, Eagle, Allianz, the best of the names as funds, as investment companies in the world, do have substantial shareholding in Berkshire. The stock info of Berkshire Hathaway, this is as it may. I thought I'll update, but I didn't find time to update it until June. Apologies. But still, this is worth looking at. You can look at the Berkshire Hathaway's 52-week high. Class A is $350,000 approximately. Market cap today is about $435 billion is the market cap. Understand, the market cap is in the world, more than 70-80 countries in the world's GDP. So that is the Indian GDP being close to 2.9 trillion. Close to 90 countries have got their GDP levels lower than the market cap of Berkshire Hathaway. That is the size of the company we are talking about, which has got close to 200 subsidiaries. And in turn, if you count about every step-down subsidy, it's more than 1,000 companies. Its price earnings ratio is about 17.2, and price earnings growth, which explains you the scope to have growth prospects only where it is and others not much. And return on equity is one of the important factor what you can look at it, and then we will understand
I'm
as you
not
go
sure
ahead you
if
will understand
others are
very
able to
much
hear,
about
but the
return on
voice is
equity.
not at all clear. It's echoing a lot.
2.80 to 1.2, 1.1.
I was able to hear this time. Are anyone
Clear,
else
sir?
facing the issue? Okay, we saw no from the chat.
Shall I
Yes.
proceed? Not not wooden. Fine. Okay. So I proceed, Ms. Supraja.
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Return on equity. We are at return on equity. So, yeah, 2.80 is written ROE for this firm, Berkshire Hathaway. The GDP growth rate of US is about 1.2 now, stated to be -5, -4 now. Whatever be it, assuming it is 1.5 like the last year estimate, the return on equity for Berkshire Hathaway is 2.80, which means this company is adding more value, is having more return than the whole of the economy, US economy. This gives a hint for us to understand that if looking at Indian example, our GDP growth rate, uh, keeping aside 2020, which is affected due to COVID, or let's take before last year, which is at about 7%, 7.5%. If any business has to operate in India, they should be able to earn at least 7.5% given the platform of Indian environment, political environment, business environment, which is 7.5%. Any business making more than 7.5% is adding value to the economy. Any business earning less than 7.5% is not able to contribute to the economy because the GDP growth rate was 7.5%. This is the hint or the point what we have to note here. Beta of Berkshire Hathaway is 0.79, 0.80, which means Berkshire Hathaway has been a defense stock. Defense stock. During the down times, when the stock market falls steeper, Berkshire Hathaway wouldn't fall that much. When stock market appreciates much, much more, Berkshire Hathaway wouldn't appreciate much, but it is stable and consistent in its appreciation or depreciation. For the younger lot who wouldn't have seen, who wouldn't have touched the share certificates, these are the stock certificates which were issued in print back then by Berkshire Hathaway. You know, if you go to Bombay, some of the places like Andheri, even the Fort Street, and if you go to Ellis Bridgeway in Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, and the Lions Range in Kolkata and T Nagar in Chennai, maybe some places of Himayat Nagar or Koti Bank Street in Koti, Hyderabad, and many other places like this, you would see investors, stockbrokers hanging photocopy or the original certificates framed in their houses on the walls, alongside their parents, their ancestors, their gods. They would hold the photo frames of these certificates. So this is the nostalgic feeling shareholders will have looking at the certificate. They would pray that the share certificate will give them more prosperity in the days to come. One is class A, class B, then general stock, both. This is the network of investments of Berkshire Hathaway. You name a company which is leading in the world, you would find its name in this web. AT&T, yes. Gillette, yes. Bush, yes. Microsoft, yes. Kiwit, yes. Yahoo, yes. Exchange, Ernst & Young, Edison, Moody's, Solomon, S&P. You name a company, you would find it here. If you not find it here, sorry, it would not have been put properly. It is there in the web, which has to be enlarged to see it. Why I am showing you the portfolio of Berkshire? To let you know that all of these companies have got presence in India and very much down here in Hyderabad, Mumbai, all other places. Apple, you know, Bank of America has got its presence, you know, Wells Fargo, you know, Coca-Cola, all of you must have been its consumers, you know, Kraft Heinz, which had the partnership, hive off, merger with Cadbury's, so that you would know. American Express, you would know. US Bank Corp has got its presence in Hyderabad and Mumbai, you know it. Moody Corp, through its rating agency, CARE, has got very wide presence, dominant across India. JP Morgan Chase, about 6,000 employees are working down here. Bank of New York has got its presence. Delta Airlines, yes, is not having presence in India. By the way, Delta Airlines, American Airlines, Southern Airlines, and United Airlines, all these four stocks used to be the most pampered stocks of Berkshire Hathaway, and Berkshire Hathaway exited from these stocks during this COVID pandemic situation in the month of April, which became a worldwide sensational news. And
Please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Dr. Ratan Talks channel.